Yo, what's up family? It's Sugar from Sound Candy Studio. Today I'm going to do a quick video on the Vertigo Sound VSC-2 plugin. It's a compressor, and I know there are loads and loads of compressors, but this one's a really good compressor. So we're going to talk about that in a moment. See you in a moment. Okay, welcome back. Okay, so I guess we should start at the beginning. Let's have a look at the graphical user interface. It looks very much like the hardware version, and that's a good thing. That's definitely a good thing. So let's start from left to right. Obviously, you can see here you have your threshold, your ratio, your attack, your release, and then your makeup gain. Currently it's at 0 dB, that's the makeup gain. And then you have these AB buttons, I'll explain what that is in a moment. And then you have the SC filter, which is your sidechain filter. You have your stereo mono button, and once again to the right you have your sidechain filter, and then you have your bypass, which acts as the button turning off and on. And fortunately for this one actually works quite well. It's quite responsive. Previous plugins that I've reviewed, this is very hit and miss, and you end up just using this button here. Okay, so I'm guessing if you're watching this video you probably know what compressors do anyway, so we probably don't need to go through the very basic stuff, all the compressors. But here you have your high-low on your threshold button. Incidentally, if you are looking at this and you're using, I don't know, as I am, Studio One, if you ever want to find out what these markers are here, you can always look up here. So just take a look up here and you can see where we are. We are on 30 odd dB. It's 35.4, which is probably 36. And then it goes all the way up to plus 11 dB. Here you have your ratio, and starting from soft, the soft, I'm guessing that will be soft knee, would be what people call soft knee, and brick would be obviously brick, but not brick wall as in brick wall limiter. That is definitely a no-no, and they certainly are not suggesting that you use it that way. I'm guessing if you want to use a brick wall limiter, you're probably going to have to go to something like Ozone 8 or Sonox or Elephant or Waves L2 or FabFilter Pro. What's the other one? FabFilter Pro L, or the PSP software. That will get you your brick wall limiters, and that will be much better than trying to do that on here. You have your release knob, which obviously you probably know what that does, and then you have your makeup gain, which is just your gain button, from 0 dB to plus 22 dB. AB on this one here, this essentially means that this stereo compressor has a mono button. So I think the thinking behind this is that you have AB. So if you switch to mono, you can have the compressor playing, say, the top as A and then the bottom as B, meaning that you can AB your compression to see whether you like it or not. That's essentially why they've put that there. Obviously you have this stereo link button here, and again you have your sidechain filter. Now from what I understand, the 90 Hz and the 60 Hz and the off, it's for if you're, I don't know, I guess if it's on a master bus and you finding that, I don't know, either the kick drum or the bass is, you want to get rid of some of it, you can either use the 90 Hz or the 60 Hz to do that, to make that happen. So you don't want to simply sit here and hear me talk, so let's go in. Also here, the default buttons, the default presets, these are quite useful, and I quite like using these just as a quick way of jumping in and hearing what things do and how they sound. This particular plugin I've had for a while, and I love using this on the drums. So let's go in. Incidentally, if I just do this, you'll see what I mean. If I go to, let's have a look at the bass. Just take a look at this, and then take a look at where the threshold is set at. If you go back to default, you notice that it goes to low. What I tend to do, and it's just the way I do it, I actually like having it on high, then reducing it to hear the level of compression that I want, as opposed to going anti-clockwise. I like to go clockwise to have it turned all the way up, and then as I'm pulling it down I can hear the level of compression. It's just the way that I do it, but I find my ears tend to understand it a bit better if I do it that way. So I'm generally up on the high and then compressing it lower, going to the low. So I'm going to stop talking. Let's hear. I've just got this very simple drum loop that I've got on this track. It's a stereo drum loop, as you can see. I'm just going to fire it up and we'll take a listen to it and see what it does. I think what we should do first of all is just go for default, and then we'll go through some of the settings and just hear how it sounds. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. Let's play some. I guess while I'm there, I should just turn it up a little bit more. Incidentally, every time I do these videos, I always forget to say sometimes on some plugins that I review, it's sometimes better or prudent to put some headphones on, just as some of the changes are quite subtle and you even need to have good studio monitors or just stick some headphones on. The other thing that I should say that's also useful as well is if you're going through and jumping straight into this particular plugin and using the defaults, you're going to have to set the threshold just to make sure that you're getting what you say you're getting. And what we're going to do here is we're going to switch the stereo link button back on so that we can hear it in stereo. And we'll fire through this again. The other thing that's also worth noticing is that because I'm using this on a drum track, not every preset is designed for the mix bus and drums. As you can see, there are some guitars and there are piano compression, so I'll flick through them, but if you don't hear a huge change, it's because of the dynamic range that we're using on certain specific instruments versus what they were set for. So for instance, the vocal rock compression, it may not make a huge difference to a drum track, so that's kind of makes a bit of sense. However, what I'm hearing through my headphones sounds really nice, and this is a plugin that I use all the time, and I particularly use it on drums, and not necessarily purely on the master bus. I use it on drums a lot, and I really love the way that this sounds. In fact, I've heard the hardware version of this, and I think that the modeling done by Brainworks is pretty damn close, if you ask me. It's a $300 plugin, and I think that it sounds great. Am I a strictly plugin user versus hardware? I like hardware. I do like hardware, but you know, I think the hardware version of this is about $6,000, so it's pretty hefty. And if you can get quite close to it using the plugin in, why would you not? There are not many people that I know that don't do hybrid mixing. A lot of people I know just mix out the box. They either use stock plugins or they buy a bunch of plugins and they use it. But this particular plugin, I definitely think this is worth purchasing. Right, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to switch it to mono mode so you can hear this A-B thing. Right, so I'm guessing you got a bit of an understanding of what this sounds like. I really do like this plugin, and someone asked me before, I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. I'm just a very early into the YouTube thing, and I'm definitely not getting sponsored by anyone. So if I say I like it, I mean I like it. I've paid for it. I do like it. I do have lots of plugins that I've bought that aren't very good, and at some point I may go through them as well. But there is this thing about giving negative feedback on plugins that you've bought, or saying negative things about. I'm just going to keep it real. If I don't like it, I'm going to say I don't like it. If I think it's a waste of money, if I think it's expensive, I'm going to say what I think. And I think for me and for people like me, it's well worth having someone say don't spend $150 or $200 on a particular plugin when there are some either free or very comparative products that do exactly the same thing. There are lots of compressors on the market, of which I find there's an SSL one, the SSL Master Suite from Waves. I think they're absolutely gorgeous, but they are a channel strip. But the compressor part sounds really great. The bus compressor from Waves sounds really great, and I probably will at some point do lots more videos like this, and probably do A/B comparisons between this particular plugin and other plugins. But for now, to say, this plugin, I'm definitely going to give this a 9 out of 10. I like it that much. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because I think it's well worth purchasing. And if you don't purchase a huge amount of software in terms of plugins, this might be one worth getting. Or if you fancy it, you could even just buy a bit of hardware. Probably, I don't know, this is $300. Probably if you spent a little bit of money, you can probably buy a decent one, well, semi-decent one for about $600-700. So it might be that you go down the hardware route, but this particular plugin, it's got my thumbs up for this one. Okay, that's it for today. I will speak to you all another time. Take care. If you like this, if you like these videos, please leave a comment, subscribe, blah blah blah. You know, that's it. Take care. Bye bye.